backup quarterback options the Packers must consider before time runs out. The Green Bay Packers find themselves facing a significant quarterback dilemma, and there's no avoiding the reality of what unfolded in Denver. The situation was nothing short of a catastrophe. Although it was the reserves who took the field during Sunday's game, the issues were apparent well before that, with Friday's joint practice offering little solace. While a single bad practice with an improving team can be overlooked if they bounce back the following week, the struggles that persisted into Sunday's game highlight a deeper, more concerning problem. The Packers have a glaring need for a reliable backup quarterback. Should anything happen to Jordan Love, Green Bay cannot afford to be left scrambling, desperately trying to secure a few wins with an unproven or ill-prepared replacement. #5 backup quarterback options for the Packers. 1. Ryan Tannehill. There has been widespread discussion among both Packers fans and analysts about the possibility of signing Ryan Tannehill to serve as a mentor and backup to Jordan Love. Tannehill is arguably the most prominent name currently available on the market. However, signing him would likely require the Packers to allocate a substantial portion of their remaining salary cap, which is estimated to be around $22 million, depending on the source. Tannehill could serve as a temporary solution during a short-term absence of Love or even as a Nick Foles-type backup, capable of leading this talented roster on a deep playoff run if Love were to suffer a serious injury. 2. Taylor Heinicke. Another veteran option worth considering is Taylor Heinicke, who has seen his share of NFL action since entering the league in 2015. Heinicke experienced a career resurgence during his time with the Washington football team from 2020 to 2022. In fact, he led Washington to a victory at Lambeau Field during the 2022 season and has openly shared that he grew up as a Packers fan. Heinicke has a tradition of buying a pair of Air Jordans in the team colors of every opponent he defeats as a starter, making him an intriguing candidate for Green Bay. Given Atlanta's apparent commitment to Kirk Cousins for the immediate future and their investment in top 10 draft pick Michael Penix Jr., Heinicke could be available as a cut-down candidate or a cheap trade option. During the 2024 preseason, Heinicke has completed 12 of 27 passes for 125 yards, with the bulk of his production coming in Atlanta's Week 2 preseason loss to Baltimore, where he went 8 for 16 with 114 yards. Throughout his career, Heinicke has appeared in 34 games, completing 604 of 966 passes for 6,635 yards, 39 touchdowns, and 28 interceptions. 3. Trevor Siemian. Trevor Siemian is another journeyman quarterback who could potentially fill the backup role for Green Bay. As a seasoned veteran, Siemian could be a cost-effective option on the free agent market. He has proven himself capable of handling long-term responsibilities, as evidenced by his 2016 season with the Denver Broncos, where he started 14 games, throwing for 3,401 yards, 18 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions, leading the team to an 8-6 record during that stretch. Last season, the New York Jets brought in Siemian to provide relief for Zach Wilson and Tim Boyle after Aaron Rodgers, a former Packers legend, suffered an injury. Siemian's performance last year was respectable from a record standpoint, going 2-1 in the 3 games he started. Although he only threw 2 touchdowns to 4 interceptions, it's worth noting that the Jets season had already taken a nosedive by that point. 4. Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson, another former Jets quarterback, is not exactly a first-choice option as a starter, but he is young and could potentially offer more than what the Packers currently have behind Jordan Love. Wilson is still considered a project at the NFL level, but with the right coaching, perhaps under Packers quarterbacks coach Tom Clements, he could develop into a more reliable option. Wilson's collegiate career concluded with an impressive junior season at BYU, where he threw for 3,692 yards, 33 touchdowns, and only 3 interceptions. While Wilson still has a considerable way to go before he becomes a productive NFL quarterback, he has shown flashes of potential. For example, he led a comeback victory for the Jets against the Buffalo Bills in the game where Rodgers was injured and also strung together 3 consecutive wins over the Denver Broncos, Philadelphia Eagles, and New York Giants. After last season, Wilson was traded to Denver, who took a chance on him. In Sunday's preseason game against the Packers reserves, Wilson completed 2 of 6 passes for 29 yards and a touchdown. 5. Let Michael Pratt and Sean Clifford continue to compete. Although this may not be the option Packers fans want to hear after the loss to Denver, it is likely the most realistic scenario. The young quarterbacks, Michael Pratt and Sean Clifford, struggled in their own ways. Clifford appears to be just a step too slow, similar to his performance against the Cleveland Browns, though this time it cost him more dearly. He completed 6 of 10 passes for 43 yards and threw a costly interception. Prior to the interception, Clifford had been building some momentum against Denver's second-string unit, securing 3 first downs, one through the air, one with his legs on an 11-yard run, and another via a roughing the passer penalty. Pratt, on the other hand, had the opposite problem. His powerful arm lacks finesse at times, as evidenced by an overthrown ball intended for Malik Heath on a third-down play. He also missed badly on a slant route to Grant Dubose, throwing well behind the second-year receiver. Pratt had a turnover of his own, losing a fumble on a strip sack inside the Packers' 20-yard line. It's important to remember that rookie and second-year quarterbacks often face challenges, as it's part of the learning curve. However, Green Bay may not have the luxury of time to draft and develop players in win-now mode. Ideally, the Packers should try to stash both Pratt and Clifford on the practice squad, allowing them to continue developing and possibly compete for a roster spot next year. If they don't see this as a viable option, they might need to let these two compete for the backup role, sign a veteran quarterback as insurance, and carry 3 quarterbacks throughout the season. This scenario is far from ideal, and unless there is significant and noticeable improvement during practice this week and in the preseason finale against the Baltimore Ravens, a move should be made.